can we jump right in?
Let's do this.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy that you're here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your department?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
my name is Sean Lowrey, and I serve as the training Battalion Chief for the Chula Vista Fire Department.
Okay.
And with that training role, it's not just the training of current firefighters that is our focus, but that's going to be a focus that's related to recruitment processes, as well as the entire workforce development plan. So once someone even becomes a firefighter, our commitment to them doesn't stop. It continues through the workforce development phases of preparation for their continued positions of promotion within the fire service.
Okay. All right. And so for the people watching at home, what do your duties look like day to day?
Well, my duties are pretty boring, if we're going to be real honest.
And maybe what your duties used to be before they got to this level too. Maybe a mix.
Absolutely. So my current duties are to serve, right? So our focus within the training division is train, serve, and repeat.
Okay.
And so the staff that works there, that's what our goal is every day. Now, that's the same focus of a firefighter. So when you're coming to work as a firefighter, we have a term that says show up to work, not at work. Work is a verb, not a noun. And so you have to have that mentality that when you're preparing for the next day or the next shift, that you're coming to work.
Okay.
So that's what a firefighter is going to do for really anywhere in this wonderful state we live in. They're going to come to work. So they're going to come with the mentality of service. They're going to show up. They're going to prepare for the day. They're going to make sure their uniform looks good. They're going to check in with their crew. They're going to start establishing a rapport if their teammates they may or may not know that day. Mm-hmm. They're going to check in with their supervisor, just like we would do at any job. Job that we go to, whether we're talking at Starbucks, any type of job, a job site, a construction site, or if we only have maybe experience in a team environment, same thing. So you're going to check in, you're going to put your uniform on, your game face, and then you're going to go out and do this wonderful job of firefighting.
Yep. All right. So if you could tell us a little bit about how did you get into the fire service? What was that experience like for you? Maybe the job that you had before you got into the fire department. I think there may be a lot of you watching that have a job. You're like, man, this wouldn't qualify me. You may not know that they might be transferable skills. So, like, what did that look? What did your journey look like?
Absolutely. So, my actual journey began in the fire service pretty young as a fire explorer.
Okay.
And that's kind of common in some of the recruitment pools that are going through our state, right? We have numerous fire explorer posts that are represented through the California Fire Exploring Association. And so that was my early start, focus to have a career in service. Mm-hmm. What I learned there were applicable job skills that didn't even relate only to the fire service, but they related to how to shine your boots, how to iron your clothes. First time I ever used the iron in my life was when I had to actually iron my uniform. So those types of things are great at an early age. In terms of my career path to get here, it wasn't just right out of the chute becoming an EMT and a paramedic. And I think that as you see and as we recruit people nowadays, the focus is the destination and not the journey. And so many people are focused purely on getting the badge, getting that EMT cert, getting the paramedic cert, and then earning the badge.
Right.
But if you take a step back and you really concentrate on the journey that you're on in order to get there, the joy will become much more great than it is for many people who just are seeking only that destination. So on my path, I had 4 jobs at one point. I was a valet. Worked as a valet. Valet was a great, one of the coolest jobs I ever had.
Yeah.
Learned how to drive new cars that were not mine. Providing high level of customer service to people. I was a pool cleaner, so
nice.
I was the pool boy, and doing that. That's running a route, kind of learning the area or the district in which you're working in.
Yep. Knowing
how to plan and map.
Yep.
All skills that are applicable to becoming an EMT on an ambulance or a paramedic or even a fire engineer at one point.
Okay.
So those types of things. I worked in construction as a painting assistant.
Okay.
And so those weren't fun days. Those were eating 7-Eleven Big Bites for lunch and working. But those are the types of things that we see in our recruitment processes that really help candidates to become stronger firefighters because they're learning applicable skills through other things like customer service or being able to use a tool. That type of stuff is super important.
Okay. Tell us in kind of an overarching way about your department. If your department's hiring, maybe some specialties, and then we'll jump to a final question of something fun. But before we get there, tell us about the department.
All right, so the Chula Vista Fire Department, we are, of course, I'm going to be a little bit particular to our department, but we're really, truly a pretty amazing place. We are the second largest city within San Diego County, so we're one of the southernmost cities in our state. We're pretty large, larger than most people think. We're in the top 15 by population in the state of California. We offer 10 fire stations. We have 4-person staffing, which is really when you're starting to evaluate a fire department, starting to really comprehend the long-term factors of your career. If you're going to be a firefighter and you have an ability to work for a fire department with 4-person staffing, that's something to really consider. That staffing model allows us to hire both firefighter EMTs and firefighter paramedics.
Okay.
So in the back of our fire engines, we have 1 firefighter EMT and 1 firefighter paramedic. Some other cool features we have is we have some unique specialties. We do have a Type 1 heavy rescue. So we have that opportunity. We have ladder trucks that are tiller-driven ladder trucks. So that's a cool opportunity for firefighters to be in the back seat and get to operate. And then we have some really neat hiring features. So some of our hiring features that are not just fire recruit based are that we also have an ambulance transport system. So within our city, we have IFF Local 2180 members who are on the ambulances as single role EMTs and single role paramedics. So this group is a continuous hiring. Our fire recruit hiring process happens once a year. And it's usually the previous year for the following year's academy. So right now we're currently just closed in the fire recruit process. But that'll be for Academy 2301. However, the ATS side, our ambulance transport side, is essentially a continuous hiring process. So there are folks who are going to get an opportunity to be an EMT or a paramedic working on a red fire department ambulance, wearing this same uniform, and being a represented employee through IFF Local 2180, which is pretty awesome. And they're non-safety positions. They're in our fire stations. They're getting to learn the culture. They're getting to learn what it is to be one team, one mission, which I'll talk about probably in a little bit relative to our academies. And so that's a unique opportunity. Today we're also recruiting because we have a pretty robust fire prevention division.
You do?
So we hire Inspector 1 and Investigator 1 positions. So at our booth behind us, if anybody has any questions related to joining the fire service as a whole, might not be as a firefighter, might not be on an ambulance, but they might just have an interest in the fire service, then we got places for you there too. So very unique fire department on those types of arenas. And then if you want me to talk about the academy, maybe we'll go through that route as well.
I would love to hear about the academy. I would love for the folks at home to hear.
Okay, so then our academy process is a little unique. We are one of the longest academies in the state of California.
How long is it traditionally, and then how long is yours?
So a California State Firefighter 1 Academy requires 16 weeks.
16 weeks.
So ours is 20 weeks.
20.
And we're very, very understanding of the fact that if you're a prospective candidate, you're looking at a pretty daunting number. Wow, 20 weeks. But once you invest in our process and we invest back in you, you will understand the reasoning behind this 20 weeks. So you're going to get your core Firefighter 1 Academy. Even if you already have one or you're coming as a lateral from another fire department, you still go through our Fire Academy. So the first 16 weeks is generally spent on that basic firefighter skills with the Chula Vista twist, obviously. The remaining
Chula Vista twist. I like
twist.
That.
We can make that a drink. So the remaining 4 weeks, we have a belief system that if you treat a person as they appear to be, then that's pretty much all you're going to get from them. But if you treat a person in a way that they could be, then they will be. And so with that, we pound a lot of a curriculum into our academies. And so some extra things that are added is every firefighter or fire recruit in our academy learns how to drive. So they're learning the basic skills to drive a fire apparatus. They're also going to learn the basic skills to be a tiller person. So they're learning how to, we put them through a tiller academy near the end and concurrent through earlier phases in the academy to have them prepared to be a firefighter on the back of a tiller truck upon graduation. The other factor I highlighted earlier that we have a heavy rescue.
Yes.
So we want every Chula Vista firefighter to be able to work on that heavy rescue day one after graduation. So there are some core classes through state fire training that are required to work on a Type 1 heavy rescue. So we include that curriculum as well. And then we ensure that you pass all of our internal certifications to be what we call Rescue 53 qualified. So every fire recruit that graduates from our 20-week fire academy is coming out with a Firefighter 1. They're coming out with all the required technical rescue courses to be on a Type 1 heavy rescue. They're a driver of fire apparatus, and then they're also tiller qualified.
Right.
But
all
most
that
important,
in 20 weeks.
all that in 20 weeks.
Wow.
So it's a unique model. We believe we believe it works. It's modeled a little bit after our United States military, right? So you go to boot camp, and there might be veterans that are here listening today. And we love hiring veterans. You go to boot camp, and then after that, you go to a school. Right. Whatever your classification is, you go to that school. And so for us, we want to make sure you're well-rounded, ready to go and hit the floor, and then you start your 1 year probation.
Okay. All right. Well, lots of information here, lots of different ways to get connected with Chula Vista. Can you look into the camera and just kind of tell folks where they can find you online, how they can get connected with your department?
Absolutely. So if you have any interest in the Chula Vista Fire Department, we're going to encourage you to go to our Instagram account, which is Join CVFD. We partner quite often with at Becoming AFF. So you'll see us on there. We actually have on our Joint CVFD Instagram page, we have a story that's dedicated to CalJack. So Instagram is one great way. You can access our city's website, and from that you can directly connect to our PIO, who will assist you as well. So as a whole, really that's some of the biggest and easiest features from a social media perspective for anybody who's listening. And then one of the cool things we do is we also host these things called recruitment open houses. And so the recruitment open house was something that was near and dear to us because we want candidates who are not just invested in becoming a firefighter in the fire service, but in specifically a Chula Vista firefighter. And so we host these open houses where we have our recruiters that are there. They're going to guide you and they're going to assist you in learning everything you need to know about our city, about our fire department, and then they'll help you step by step. We do things called interview prep sessions. We do for paramedic candidates. We do mega code or like assessment preps. Okay. We do those things.
Like for interviews?
For interviews and then specific to skills assessments. So when you're preparing, many of the agencies that CalJack supports have mega code tests. So it's what the paramedic has to go through in order to show that they have the adequate paramedic skills. So we prep you for those things. You get to touch our equipment. You get to figure out how to use those things. And we coach you through the process of a mega code. And then we also do prep camps. So we're trying to make sure the prep camp, physical readiness, educational, and emotional preparation. So we have a lead whose entire focus is that. And that's a pretty big deal. Those are hosted twice a week. And those are for serious candidates that are really have already passed their CPAT and they're trying to get into academy shape, become a tactical athlete, which is basically what firefighters are.
A tactical athlete, love it.